You've been taught your whole life to seek ease, to stay comfortable, to avoid the hard path because it's uncertain, it's painful, and it's not guaranteed. But that exact mindset is why you're stuck. That's why you're frustrated, angry, and unfulfilled. Because comfort is the biggest lie you've ever been sold. It masquerades as peace, but it's poison. It kills your ambition slowly, numbs your discipline, and suffocates your potential. Every time you hit snooze, every time you skip that workout, every time you take the easy way out, you feed that weakness. You strengthen the very thing that's holding you back. The truth is, if you want to change your life, the first thing you need to do is declare war on comfort. You can't build a beast on a soft foundation. You can't create resilience in a life full of shortcuts. You have to suffer. You have to wake up early when your bed feels like heaven. You have to put your shoes on when your body is screaming for rest. You have to run when your legs are burning and your lungs are on fire. You have to fight when there's no one watching, no one cheering, no one giving you a damn thing. That's where transformation begins. It begins in the dark, in silence, in pain. While the world is still asleep, you're grinding. You're out there laying bricks that no one sees. And brick by brick, you build a version of you that nothing can break. Discipline is not about being in the mood. It's not about feeling like it. It's about doing what needs to be done no matter what. That's what separates the driven from the defeated. The ones who win aren't always the most talented. They're the ones who show up regardless. Day after day, year after year, without excuses. They treat discipline like oxygen. It's not optional. It's not negotiable. They don't rely on hype or inspiration. They rely on a fire that's been built through consistency, through showing up when it sucks, through falling in love with doing the hard things. The world will keep feeding you this dream that you can be successful without sacrifice. That you can change your life without pain. That's a lie. Every inch of growth is earned in discomfort. You want a better body, then suffer in the gym. You want a better mindset, then suffer in silence with your thoughts. You want to rise financially, spiritually, emotionally, then prepare to bleed for it, because nothing you want is going to be handed to you. Nothing great has ever come from easy. You don't find yourself at the top of the mountain by accident. You claw your way there, with blistered hands, a broken body, and a mind that refuses to quit. There are two versions of you fighting every day. The weak one that wants to stay in bed, and the savage that wants to rise. And every decision you make feeds one of them. Every time you take the easy way out, you're casting a vote for mediocrity. But every time you do the hard thing, even when you don't want to, especially when you don't want to, you build the warrior inside. That's how you earn respect from yourself. That's how you earn the right to level up. It's not about impressing others. It's not about showing off. It's about knowing that you put in the work when it was hard. When it was painful, when nobody else would have. The pain you avoid today becomes the regret you carry tomorrow. You think skipping today's workout doesn't matter. That one decision becomes a habit. That habit becomes your identity, and that identity becomes your future. On the flip side, every time you override that voice of weakness, you gain power, real power, the kind of power that builds unshakable confidence. Because confidence doesn't come from words, it comes from work. From doing what needs to be done when it's hardest, from building a pattern of showing up day after day, through the storms, through the fatigue, through the doubt. When you train yourself to love the hard path, you become unstoppable, because life will never stop throwing punches. There will always be setbacks, losses, and adversity. The difference is whether you're ready or not. Whether you've built the mental armor to handle it. That armor doesn't come from motivation videos or self-help books. It comes from discipline, from choosing to suffer every day, from showing up when the odds are against you, from pushing your limits until they become your new normal. Discipline is the only real freedom, because once you master your habits, your emotions, your urges, you become the one in control, not your fear. Not your excuses. You want peace, earn it through war. You want power, earn it through pain. You want freedom, earn it through discipline. Because every great thing in this world is guarded by suffering. That's the price. That's the toll. Most people aren't willing to pay it. But you're not most people. You're still here. You're still listening. That means something inside you is still burning. Don't let that fire die out. Feed it every morning with discipline. Feed it every night with hard work. Protect it by denying comfort a seat at your table, because comfort wants to kill your greatness, and if you don't fight back, it wins. There is no arrival. There is no point where it gets easy. You don't earn a break. You don't retire from self-mastery. Every single day you wake up and you choose who you're going to be. Not with your thoughts, but with your actions. Not with your plans, but with your suffering. The more you suffer with intention, the stronger you become. The more you embrace the discomfort, the more you separate from the pack. Most people will never do this. That's why they stay stuck. That's why they repeat the same year over and over again. But you've decided to break the cycle, to step into the pain, to sharpen your mind with pressure, to transform your body through sweat, to carve a new identity with blood and discipline. Comfort will seduce you with sweet lies. It will tell you tomorrow's better, that rest is earned, that this one time doesn't matter, that no one will know. But you'll know, and that's enough. You'll know when you took the shortcut. You'll feel it when your confidence fades, when your progress stalls, when your goals drift further out of reach. But if you choose discipline, if you choose the hard thing every single time, then every rep becomes a vote for the beast you're becoming. Every early morning becomes a foundation for a stronger version of you. Every ounce of sweat becomes a brick in the empire you're building. You don't need to be gifted. You don't need to be lucky. You just need to suffer on purpose and stay consistent long enough for the world to take notice. You wake up every morning thinking the world owes you something, that your hard work should be rewarded, that someone should notice your pain, your effort, your struggle. But here's the brutal truth. No one's coming. No one cares how tired you are. No one cares how hard your past was. No one's handing you a dream life because you wish for it. The world isn't built on pity. It's built on results. And every single one of those results comes down to one person, asterisk asterisk, you asterisk asterisk. Not your family, not your boss, not your coach, not your partner, you. If you want change, if you want to rise, you have to look in the mirror and accept full ownership of your life. Every win, every loss, every scar, own it all. You can't be powerful and play the victim at the same time. You can't talk about discipline and still blame your circumstances. Life is hard for everybody. You think you're the only one with a past, with trauma, with pain. You think you're the only one who's been counted out, underestimated, broken. Every savage that ever lived has been through hell. But they didn't stop there. They didn't let it define them. They used it. They flipped it. They took the suffering and made it their identity. And they showed the world that they were in charge. You don't rise by waiting. You rise by taking full control over every second of your day. You don't outsource your life to chance. You take it, you mold it, you bleed for it. There's a voice inside you that whispers lies every single day. It says, you're too tired, you've done enough, no one sees the effort anyway. That voice is weakness. And the only way to shut it down is by outworking it. You don't reason with weakness. You bury it, under layers of discipline, under layers of pain, under layers of work that most people would never touch. You show up when no one else does. You push when your legs are screaming. You commit when your mind begs for mercy. That's how you earn freedom. That's how you change your damn life, not with dreams. Not with prayers, with work. Relentless, savage, unforgiving work. You're the problem and the solution. You're the reason you're stuck, and you're the only one who can break out. No one's gonna force you to do the work. No one's gonna drag you to your goals. If you don't get up, nothing changes. If you don't put in the reps, you stay weak. If you don't take ownership, you stay stuck in the same loop of excuses, comfort, and disappointment. Ownership is power. When you finally stop blaming everything and everyone around you, you get to see the truth. That you've had the tools all along. You just weren't using them because using them hurts. Because using them means sacrifice, and most people would rather stay broken than bleed. But you're not most people. You're still here. You're still grinding. There's something inside you that wants more. That wants to rise. That wants to tear down the weak identity you've been carrying and replace it with something real, something dangerous, something unshakable. You don't get there by pointing fingers. You get there by looking in the mirror and saying, "This is on me." And when you say that with truth, with fire, with ownership, everything changes. You stop making excuses. You stop waiting for the right time. You stop needing approval. You go out and get what you said you wanted, because now it's on your back. Now it's your mission. Now it's war. There's no shortcut. There's no secret formula. There's just decisions. Thousands of them, every single day. You decide whether to snooze or rise. You decide whether to train or stay soft. You decide whether to eat clean or poison your body. You decide whether to run from pain or embrace it. And every one of those decisions either makes you stronger or weaker. There's no neutral. There's no in between. You're either building the savage or feeding the coward. You're either closing the gap between you and your potential or making the gap wider. And the world, it doesn't care what you choose. You do. You live with it. You carry it. Don't talk about wanting change if you're not ready to bleed for it. Don't talk about goals if you're not ready to sacrifice comfort. The life you want isn't waiting. It's hidden behind thousands of hours of unglamorous, uncomfortable, disciplined effort. Behind all the nights you work while others sleep. Behind all the mornings you rise before the sun. Behind every decision to not take the easy road. This is a game of choices, and the stakes are your life. Every time you say, "I'll do it tomorrow," you just gave up another piece of your potential. Every time you say, "It's too hard," you've chosen to be less than what you're capable of. You don't rise by talking. You rise by doing. You rise by acting. You rise by refusing to be anything less than relentless. The reason you don't have the life you want is because you haven't demanded it from yourself. You're still making deals with weakness, still negotiating with excuses, still entertaining thoughts of quitting. You want to win. Cut all that out, eliminate it. Go dark, lock in. Build the discipline that doesn't care how you feel. That does what's required, no matter the mood, no matter the weather, no matter the doubt. That's how you win, not just once, but forever. You are your habits, not your dreams, not your potential, not your intentions. Your results are the product of what you do every single day. If you keep handing your power away to your excuses, you'll never tap into your real strength. Stop looking for the next motivational quote. Stop waiting to feel ready. You'll never feel ready. Real growth starts the moment you stop needing motivation and start embracing responsibility. You do it because it's hard. You do it because most won't. You do it because that's how you build a mindset that can't be broken. Ownership isn't a choice, it's a requirement. You want to build a new life, then burn the old one to the ground. Burn the laziness. Burn the victimhood, burn the blame. This isn't about making you feel good. It's about making you dangerous, a threat to mediocrity, a savage among civilians, someone who looks weakness in the eye and refuses to flinch. That's built through ownership, through deciding that your life is your fault, all of it. And that's the most liberating, empowering truth you will ever accept. Because if it's your fault, then it's also your power. You get to rewrite the story. You get to change the narrative. You get to become the person you were meant to be, but only if you're willing to bleed for it. Only if you're willing to carry the burden that most people run from. You want to change your life. Take ownership of everything, every mistake, every missed opportunity, every lazy day, every bad choice, not because you should feel shame, but because you're done hiding. Because you're done pretending. Because you've decided that the future version of you is worth more than your excuses. That's the moment things start to shift. when you stop pointing fingers and start pointing at the grind. That's when life begins to bend to your will, not because it's fair, but because you finally became the kind of person who forces change through sheer force of discipline. Your mind is the battlefield. Every single day, thoughts are waging war inside your head. One side is built on weakness, fear, doubt, insecurity. The other side is built on truth, discipline, and the savage version of you that refuses to stay small. But here's the truth most people ignore. Whichever side you feed is the one that wins. You want to become unstoppable. You want to kill the fear, destroy the excuses, silence the noise. Then you need to start training your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. The body follows the mind, and the mind follows the pattern. You've got to program the pattern. You've got to rewire what you believe, and that only happens when you flood your brain with truth, over and over and over again, until there's no room left for the lies. You think change comes from motivation, from a single speech or a feel. Good quote, that might get you started, but it won't carry you through the war. The mind doesn't transform with hype. It transforms with repetition. Relentless repetition. You want to be mentally tough. You want to be a machine. Then you need to repeat the process every single day until there's no version of you that even remembers quitting. You don't need more inspiration. You need reminders. You need reminders of who you are, of what you've overcome, of what you're capable of. Because this world will try to make you forget. It'll distract you with comfort. It'll drown you in noise. It'll tempt you to soften up, to settle down, to relax, and every time you listen to it, you drift further from who you were meant to be. The mind must be conditioned like a muscle. You can't train it once and expect it to stay strong. You've got to hammer it every day. You've got to feed it the same truth until it breaks the old pattern. You've got to build mental calluses so thick that no negativity, no self-doubt, no external opinion can pierce them. And the way you do that is simple. You expose your mind to the truth. You expose it to the grind. You expose it to pain, struggle, suffering. And then you remind it again and again why you're doing this. Why you wake up before the sun. Why you train in the cold. Why you keep going when it burns. You remind it because your mind forgets. It forgets that your comfort zone is killing you. It forgets that easy equals average. That comfort equals regret. That's why you listen to the truth every day. That's why you repeat it, not because you're weak, but because repetition is the cure for weak programming. The world has been filling your head with lies since day one. Lies about your limits, lies about your worth, lies about what's possible for you. And those lies don't just go away because you want them to. They don't disappear with good intentions. They only die through discipline. Through consistent exposure to the truth, through daily repetition. Repetition becomes routine, routine becomes identity, and identity becomes destiny. You're not changing your life by hoping. You're changing it by attacking your thoughts every single day until your mind bends to your will. You've got to go to war with your comfort voice, the one that says, take a break. You've earned it. No one's watching. That voice is not your friend. That voice is weakness in disguise. And the only way to silence it is to override it. Not once, but every damn day, you override it with action. You override it with truth. You override it by showing up when you don't feel like it, by pushing when you're exhausted, by grinding when every cell in your body wants to quit. And the more you do that, the more your mind starts to believe a new story, a story where you're the one in control, where you don't fold under pressure, where you are the pressure. You want to create a savage mindset? Then you better start speaking the language of savages, the language of consistency, effort, discipline, pain, truth. You've got to delete the weak vocabulary, words like can't, maybe, try, I'll start tomorrow. Those words are chains. You want to break free, then speak like you've already won the war. Think like you've already bled for it. Move like you've already suffered for it. Because when your mind believes it's already done, your body will follow. That's the power of mental conditioning. That's the power of repetition. You keep feeding your mind what you want it to believe until it becomes your only reality. Most people don't fail because they are incapable. They fail because they believe the wrong story, they let the old voice win, they let the past dictate the present, but your past doesn't own you. Your story isn't fixed, it's not permanent. You get to rewrite it every time you choose discipline over excuses. Every time you get up early, push harder, stay focused, go beyond. Every time you choose the harder path, you're programming your mind to be stronger. And eventually, that new story becomes who you are. You don't have to think about showing up anymore, it's automatic. You don't have to fight the weak voice anymore, it's silent. That's the reward for repetition. Don't expect the mind to be tough if you're feeding it trash. If you're spending your day consuming soft, weak messages, don't be surprised when you fold under pressure. You want to be forged in fire. Then start by feeding your mind the words of fire. Words that demand more from you. Words that challenge you. Words that call out your laziness and push you to be better. The world doesn't care about your feelings. It respects results. And those results come from a mindset that has been built through consistent, unbreakable, savage repetition. You feed your mind like you train your bada, relentlessly, with intensity and without compromise. You've got to remind yourself daily that your goals aren't optional, that your dreams aren't hobbies. They're missions, and you don't complete a mission by showing up when you feel like it. You complete it by executing no matter what. That level of execution starts in the mind. You build that mindset every single morning. You decide who you are every single rep. You carve a new standard into your brain every single time you refuse to quit. And you do it again the next day and the next, until there's no gap between what you say you are and how you show up. That's how you change your identity. That's how you create a version of you that's feared by weakness and respected by pressure. It's not enough to know what to do. You have to condition yourself to do it on command. That's what repetition does. It turns discipline into instinct. It hardwires action into your identity. It removes the need for motivation because your default is effort. Your default is hard. Your default is all in. That's the mindset that breaks limits. That's the mindset that creates monsters. That's the mindset that doesn't need applause, doesn't need praise, doesn't need anything but a target and the will to destroy it. You listen to the truth every day because the world is too loud with lies. You repeat the standard every day because the old one was too soft. You feed your mind the grind every day because your legacy depends on it.